You've arrived at Unlearn with Louisa, the self-development podcast where we explore the beliefs, patterns, and behaviours we've all unconsciously picked up along the way. Whether it's in relationships or how we treat ourselves, here we focus on unlearning our past to create the future that we actually want. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Unlearners. Welcome to another week at Unlearn with Louisa. Happy New Year. I hope you guys are having a wonderful January. It is really, really hot in Melbourne at the moment. Today is going to be 41 degrees and I'm not prepared, to say the least. I feel like the whole of the Melbourne winter we spend, wishing it was hot, and now it's here and I'm terrified. So that's really fun. Now, this episode, can I tell you, it has a really beautiful place in my heart. The fear of being alone. Now, when I know ball, okay? Like the fear of being alone, wow, this dictated my life for so long. And I can finally say that I have complete freedom from it. When I was younger, my first addiction was socializing. I used to be somebody that had to always have my calendar booked up with like social engagements, or I always had to have a boyfriend, or I always had to have like a big friendship group. There always had to be, if there was something on, I had to be there. Like I had the deepest, darkest fear of missing out. And it was because I was running from myself. If I was in the company of other people, I wasn't sitting with the feelings of not feeling good enough or feeling inadequate. If I was around other people, I was able to be present, I could have fun. My mind was quiet, basically. And my addiction to being around people also came with my addiction to drugs, right? And when I got clean, when I was 22, I still definitely for a period of time there really was socially driven. I always had to be at the social events. I always wanted to be around Tara. I always wanted to be around my boyfriend. And it wasn't that I was consciously doing that, but I just always felt this need and desire to be connected to people. And I mean, that obviously served a purpose when I was trying to get sober because, a lot of people use drugs and alcohol in order to connect to people. And so when I was, getting sober at such a young age, like connection was such an important part of that, to know that I could be connected and I could have lots of fun while still being sober. However, there came a point where my soul and my body started to yearn for myself and yearn for a better relationship with myself. Obviously, like a lot of people really got hit hard by the lockdowns in 2020, but for me, I feel like the way I like to perceive things is I like to see the universe's lesson in whatever it is that I'm going through, even if it feels bad in the present moment. And lockdown was, yes, absolutely challenging, but it actually forced me to grow and forced me to develop a relationship with myself that previously I wouldn't have been able to have. I was so used to prioritizing friends and social events that when lockdown came in, it forced me to slow down. It forced me to fill up my time and put that energy I was putting into other people into myself. I did a whole bachelor's degree in lockdown. I went through a breakup during lockdown, and I started to rewire this need, and I started to really build this relationship with myself. And now, 6 years later, when I tell you, like, I love being alone, I am not joking. Like, I love solitude. I think there is a big difference between being alone and being lonely, and then also being in solitude and being in great company. If you have a fear of being alone, underneath that is the fact that you are fearful of your own company and that you cannot handle it. Underneath all fears is the fear that you can't handle it. Sometimes people don't even realize they have a fear of being alone. Like, you might be listening to this episode going like, I'm not afraid of being alone. Like, I can be alone. But then you look at your behaviors and the patterns of your life, and it's like you're always in a relationship, or you're terrified of not going to your friend's birthday dinner because you don't want to miss out, or the thought of living alone is so terrifying to you. I was somebody that was so driven socially and so extroverted. And then I moved in by myself for 2 years. I lived on my own for 2 years. It was some of the best 2 years of my life. Living alone was absolutely amazing. Like, I went from somebody that like could not breathe without a boyfriend, without a friend around me, without a group, without something locked in the next day. I was one of those people that like constantly needed to be social, to somebody that lived alone for 2 years and consistently and absolutely adored it, who loves her own company, who loves solitude, who loves being in my own presence. Like, that was the shift and the work I did to get there. This is like my thing. This was one of the most important and pivotal transformations for me as a person. And what I realized is, if you're somebody that's afraid of being alone, it is dictating your life without you even knowing it. Because if you're afraid of being alone, you will settle for company that is less than you deserve. If you are afraid of being alone, you will settle for company that is less than what you deserve. And that was my experience, 100%. Because I was afraid and I didn't have a strong and stable relationship with myself, I was settling for circumstances and situations that hurt me. And I stayed in situations, and I overstayed my welcome in relationships, and I overstayed my welcome in friendships, because the fear of being alone and the fear of what that would bring up for me dictated my decision. And it wasn't a conscious thing. It was this unconscious motivation of, oh, I better not say that, or, oh, I'll make it work because I don't want to have to live without you. And, you know, what would that mean if I wasn't friends with you? Then what would they think? And what would that group think? And whatever. So in order to have healthy, aligned relationships, like if you are single, if you are freshly single, or you've been single for a while, and if you are somebody that really relates to being afraid of being without a partner, or being afraid, like if you're afraid to go to a dinner with your friends without somebody with you, or you feel like you could never go to the movies alone, or you could never travel alone, there is room for improvement. And dealing with this fear, there is going to have to come a time where you sit with the uncomfortability that comes up as a result of being alone. People who fear being alone are afraid of what it means, what they make that mean to themselves when they are alone. So what gets brought up for you when you spend a certain amount of time alone? Is it that you feel not good enough? Is it that you feel inadequate? Is it that you feel lonely? You feel scared? You feel sad? What are you running from, and what are you suppressing through connection to other people? Obviously, connection to other people is such a great thing, like 100%. But we can get ourselves in trouble if you're a codependent person. If you don't have a stable baseline and a stable relationship with yourself, you will forever compromise yourself and your boundaries and your values in the face of other people, because you don't have a dialogue and a communication around that. What you want to ask yourself and what you want to get clear on is, what are your triggers? So for some people, they feel very comfortable being alone 9 to 5 during the week when they're working. Like, that feels like a really safe place to like go about their routine. But when a Saturday night comes around, you know, you're used to being with your partner or your ex-partner or your relationship. And if you've got no plans, it feels like all these feelings come up. I've definitely experienced that. Or, you know, even on New Year's Eve as a single person, it's like, oh, everybody else is with their partners or whatever, and you feel that void. So there's a balance. You want to obviously sit with those feelings and allow them to come up and explore and soothe yourself before you run to other people. And then once you've done that, once you've soothed yourself, once you've created a relationship with yourself, once you've created a dialogue and you've exercised that relationship, then it's like, okay, from that place, I'm not going to use other people to fill up my cup. I've filled up my own cup. I've seen myself. I've validated myself, and then I will reach out to people to connect. That is what builds and strengthens your relationship with yourself, is that check-in process, that dialogue between yourself. If you instantly feel a feeling and just run to somebody else, it's no different to running to a drug. And obviously there are situations where that is appropriate, like if you're going through a breakup and the feelings are so overwhelming, or you're going through the death of a loved one, or like these really extreme situations where you're like, I need my people 100%. But eventually you will have to sit with yourself. You will have to be able to sit with those emotions. And sometimes we get afraid because we're scared of the abyss of time to sit with ourselves. So it's like, maybe it's about going home, giving yourself an hour if you're going through a really tough time, sitting with yourself, doing something for yourself, and then, catching up with people. Because if we do too much of anything, we can burn out, right? My relationship with myself completely changed the moment I decided that the time that I spent alone had to be used with intention, and I had to be conscious, and I had to fill that time up too. Often if we're young, we're like very good at planning dates or doing fun things with friends or going to the movies or doing things which create connection. And so we enjoy that time a lot more because we're making plans and we're doing different things. When you're alone, it can be like, well, what am I going to do? Like, what are the things I can do? So you want to start to create a relationship with yourself and fill up that time with yourself. So make it important to you. You want to make the time that you spend alone important to you. So for example, things like, I know everyone hates that question, what are your hobbies? And it's like, well, I don't fucking have a hobby. Like maybe it's scrolling, or, like a lot of girls experience that nowadays. So you want to find something and explore different activities that you can do when you're alone. Maybe it's reading. Maybe you start doing coloring in. Maybe you start drawing. Maybe you start doing a course online, or learning how to meditate, or learning how to do a different craft or something. You want to basically explore what you can do as a person and build a relationship and build things to do in your own time. Because of course, if you're freshly single, you're used to filling up that time and making that really intentional with your partner. So it's really important to fill up that time with yourself and start to develop activities and things that you can do on your own. If you're freshly single and you're struggling to be alone, what you do with this time and how you heal yourself in this space is going to dictate the quality of your relationships going forward. It's going to dictate what you will and won't accept in relationships. So if you've come out of a relationship where you feel like you are accepting less than you deserve, to ensure that you don't attract the same pattern and the same type of situation, because obviously at the start of the next relationship, it won't appear like that. It will appear like it's this beautiful, amazing, intoxicating relationship. What you need to do is ensure that your relationship with yourself and the dialogue and your ability to listen to your feelings and listen to your intuition is so in check. This is the game changer when it comes to manifesting healthy love. Like we always think about, oh, I want to manifest my soulmate, or I want to manifest a beautiful partner and whatever. The way that you do that is by manifesting a really strong, stable, and healthy relationship with yourself first. And if you can't be in your own company, you're not going to be able to do that. You have to learn to like your own company. And the way you're going to do that is you have to jump in the deep end a bit. Like for me, living alone for 2 years completely changed the game for me. I understand that not everyone can afford to do that. And maybe it's about, taking a weekend trip, or taking yourself away for the weekend, or taking yourself on a drive, or taking yourself somewhere that you've always wanted to go, making moments throughout the week where you go, okay, I'm going to create a routine that's just for me. I'm going to go for a walk every morning on my own, or I'm going to, go to that art exhibition on my own. Do something that you're afraid of doing. Like my beautiful housemate, she just went to Japan by herself, had to figure out all the train lines, had to figure out her budget, had to figure out how to communicate. She literally, I hope she doesn't mind me telling the story, but she literally lost her phone. Her phone was rain damaged. She had no phone. She's in a foreign country. She couldn't use her phone to contact anyone. She had to figure out in a foreign country that don't speak much English to get to the Apple store, to book an appointment, to get a new phone, and she had to figure out the train lines on how to get there without maps, without anything. And obviously it was a really awful, stressful day for her, but it created this amazing trust within herself as a result. And so that experience up levels you without even realizing it about who you will accept and attract into your life. Because it's like, if I can do this for me, what are you going to offer me as a partner? Because if I'm void and I need you to fill me up, I will take anything. And take it from someone that used to do that. Like, I used to have a void where I would use people to make me feel better about myself. But now that I feel amazing about myself as I am, I can go out and take risks and do things that I wouldn't have done in the past. Like, God forbid, I would have never started a podcast or started posting online if I was the person I was back when I was 22, 23. Absolutely not. I was a victim to the reactions of what I thought other people thought of me. I was a victim to other people's judgment and other people's opinions of me. And sure, like at times that does come up in my mind here and there. I think, oh God, what is my ex thinking if he sees that video? Or what is whoever thinking? Or my school friend or whatever. I went to my school reunion and they're like, oh my God, I saw your TikTok. I'm like, you do have those moments, right? But because of the knowing and the relationship and my ability to back who I am as a person and the ability I have to know myself fully, it's just a thought that washes away and I come back to myself every single time. And that is a miracle. Like, that is the most profound gift that I have ever been given in life. Now I know not everyone's thing is the universe, and their relationship with a higher power isn't necessarily like the most mainstream thing, although it is becoming more and more talked about. If you are afraid of being alone, rely on the universe. Like, that was this one thing that got me out of self when I was, early days in trying to develop a relationship with myself. Why do I always burp when I'm on this podcast? Honestly, pardon me. When I first had to learn to create a relationship with myself, I started to develop a trust and faith in the universe, and not faith in the terms of religious faith. I'm talking like a faith that everything will be okay, a faith that I'm going to get through whatever it is I'm going through. And if you're somebody that's really relating to needing to be in the next relationship ASAP, or, you fear missing out if you can't like miss any social settings, or you feel like you can't go to the social event alone, or you feel afraid to go down your busiest street by yourself in case you run into someone or whatever, if you're feeling that feeling of inadequacy, start to develop a relationship with the universe. Start looking into energetics, start looking into saying prayers and intentions to the universe and asking the universe for the ability to sit with yourself. That was a game changer for me. When I was alone, if I felt lonely, I would say a prayer to the universe. I'd talk to the universe. I was never alone as a result because of my faith and relationship with the universe. I always had something to do. I always was led to be able to sit with myself because I had that spiritual relationship. Spiritual well-being has a direct relationship with yourself and your ability to sit with self. And I know that not everyone connects to, a lot of people have stigma around what that means and the universe, and they get the ick with it, or they've had really traumatic experiences with religion. But I need to tell you, I am not religious in any way, shape or form, but I am spiritual and I believe in the spirit realm, and it has developed and changed over the last 7 years, and at different times it looks really different. But start to experiment, start to explore, do just a little experiment of next time I feel afraid of being alone, I'm just going to give it a go and see what my results are. If it doesn't help you, it doesn't help you. If it does, it does. It's just about giving different things a go in life. Your ability to nurture yourself and hold yourself through feelings is going to have a direct relationship with what the quality is of your life. So having an ability to return to self, to soothe yourself through triggers, to soothe yourself through this next phase of your journey it is so important, and it's also so much fun. Like when you become single, honestly, the world is your oyster. There is so much opportunity and there is so much joy and excitement and fun to be had as a single person and as a person getting to know yourself. So I really urge you to just be up for the ride. If this is something that you've always known that's kept you stuck, honestly, like, let me be the pinnacle that it gets so much better and it gets so much easier, and it's on offer for anyone that gives it a go and that's intentional about doing the work. I will see you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the episode, and congratulations for choosing to create a future that's actually yours. If you got something out of this episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it, and keep up to date with me by following wherever you listen to this episode. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you could also leave a review. If you want more from me, you can find me on any platform at Unlearn with Louisa, or head over to my website unlearnwithlouisa.com to work with me as a coach. And I will see you at the next episode.